So letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, outside, winning to die, cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like, and if they don't like the move, then we're ready to fight. But this is how we ride, this is how we do, riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove, don't give a damn about the cash we're spending, with the time we got we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here live once again on the UB2B page, and we have our favorite hat on today. It is really nice. It actually is a great hat. I like the flex fits. They don't have that long lived Chaz, we do. But we are here once again today trying to keep this noon-ish, I guess we'll call it noon-ish Central live show going Monday through Friday is what we're looking at. Multiple guests, multiple people. And this, it's a 2 to 3 week saga at this point, ladies and gentlemen, of Joe Von Schultz, known as, to some, as Broke Joe. And Joe came on yesterday and had to respond to the response of everything. And he has some things to say about some of the commenters and even this situation that is developing, as well as some things around the high limit racing that we saw last night. But I just want to say, because I did notice that once I ended the show yesterday, there were several people who messaged me, several negative comments about Joe and the sport and how he is bad for the sport, bad for my channel, bad for the show, is very gloom and doom, it seems like, of people in general. That's what a lot of people were saying. Now, here's what I want to say to y'all. I do not think that is what Joe is doing or attempting to do. But what I do think, and this is very, very true, is everyone in the world is a product of their environment. Now, I personally believe that some of the views that Joe has is very raw, honest, and it does come with a little bit of a whip at the end of every sentence almost sometimes. Because, it's a form of comedy in a way, I think. I laugh at it half the time. But I also look at it as this is a guy who has, worked his ass off, busted his ass off his whole entire life, who raced at a certain point, didn't necessarily get done severely wrong, but saw the other things that other people had, not necessarily himself, and then also worked for years and years to get a car on the track, teamed up with a few drivers, wasn't some big name, no big corporation, just this broke Joe working in a shop, saving his money and building and making wealth for himself to compete against the ones that are inheriting wealth, and then goes out there over the last 10 or so years and actually starts kicking some of these corporatized people's ass, and got a little shade, or a little, it seems like got pushed to the side, exiled, told to get away, because he came in there on his own back and started kicking these baby asses that didn't make it on their own back. And so I think that throughout this process of Joe's racing interaction with this racing world, because he respects the hell out of multiple cultures, he's probably one of the most even-keeled guys when it comes to perspectives on the world and society, respects several people. I've seen him give money to homeless people. I've seen him talk up against civil justices and stuff like that. Very courageous, very civil, very moralistically sound opinions. But when it comes to this racing world, and especially over there on the West Coast, I think some of this disgruntledness from Joe that people are picking up, what's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with this guy is he's been dealing with that West Coast sprint car racing scene his entire racing career life. And over there, it's almost like these dark alleyways and behind the corners. There's a lot of stuff that goes on over there that nobody knows about, that and there's a lot of people getting beat up. And I think that some of this disgruntledness that is taken in by the viewing audience as an asshole or wrong or bad or hates the sport, I think, at least in my opinion, I don't necessarily sympathize with that, but I empathize with the anger that Joe Von Schultz may have dealing with that environment that he has had to deal with over there on the West Coast. So anyway, there was a lot of negative comments. There was a lot of things said, and we're going to go ahead and get Joe Von Schultz on the phone. And let me click him. I got him over here on hold, unmuted. Joe, I know you may not agree with what I just said. That would be my assessment. Sometimes you are a little aggressive and truthful and raw with a little whip at the end. And I think that anything, I don't see you as an evil, cold soul, Joe. I see you as a really good person, but I also see you as when somebody's kicking your ass around, you're going to say something and be a little upset about it. And I think you've been bullied out there personally over in the racing scene of California. That's what I think.
That's quite an introduction. I don't know if I can live up to that.
You have to live up to it. You have to live up to it.
Can I start with a little of my theme song for the day?
Do you have a theme song? Are you officially projecting a theme song now?
Yeah. Here, you ready?
Okay, let's hear it. We just lost him. Oh, never mind. He's back.
Just give me some truth.
Oh, is that some old song that no one knows?
Well, I don't know how narrow-minded this audience is. I don't know what they know, but that was a song by John Lennon in his honor. I'm going to try to put my soul power to the karmic wheel here for the next half hour or so. And let's start off by answering some of the questions that people had yesterday.
Hold on. Back her down. What is your assessment of my assessment? Am I completely wrong or what? Is it just as bad as this hair change color that the girl tried to do to me yesterday? Look at this. Well, I got to put the hat back on. I'm just saying, what is your assessment of my assessment of people who may take you as a little disgruntled? I mean, what do you feel?
Oh, I don't know. People are entitled to their own opinion, and people see things through their own eyes, and it's like anything. If there's a traffic accident and 5 people see it, they're all going to have different views of what they saw. And this is the same. I mean, there's going to be different views depending on.
Well, I think you in the sprint car scene over there is a traffic accident. That's what I'm saying. Like it's been a traffic accident, and you're talking about how you're getting run over.
I don't talk about how I'm getting run over. I'm just telling you what I saw and how things happened to me. I don't know. I don't mean run over. I mean, as I stated many times, I've been in racing my whole life. I knew what I was getting into, and I got pretty much treated, and things went like I expected. I mean, it was no surprise of how these racers are out here and the people who run these things. So I don't think I was run over. I did it for a period of time, and I spent enough money and felt I kind of proved my point to myself that I could put a car out there and win at a rate that nobody really in the last 10 years has done. I've stated many times my 410 car won 6 of its last 12 local races, which people who could do math, that's 50%. I don't think anyone's percentage is higher. I did it at 4 different tracks with 2 drivers, so there's nothing really for me to, I mean, why keep going out there?
My more so point is that it seemed like you didn't necessarily get patted on the back when you would do those things, and everybody else would if they were involved in the clique. It's been you versus the clique for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I knew that going in, though. I've never been. You don't wake up one day and become who I am.
Right.
This is who I've been since I was a toddler. There's been when you try to stand up for yourself and you speak for yourself and you think for yourself. In America, it causes problems I don't mean to cause the problems, but I'm not going to be run over, and I'm not going to listen to somebody who I don't think is telling me what's right. And if I think they're wrong, I'm going to voice my opinion. And this happened all the way through school and Little League and playing sports in college. And I mean, that's why I had to start my own business. The way I am is always how I've been, and it comes with a price, which, I gladly pay. It doesn't seem like a big deal to me because this is how I've always been. So this isn't any different than, when I was a baseball player or a student or anything else.
Okay. Well, as you said, when somebody's saying something wrong, you say something back. Now, apparently on the show yesterday in our 2-hour segment that we didn't plan on having either
first, let me just cut you off for a second here. This is how I was raised. This is the household I was raised in. My parents encouraged their children to speak. We were not muted. We were not talked down to. We were disciplined, but we weren't brought up to. We were brought up to question things. That's just how I was raised. Okay, we'll go on.
Well, that's a good point, because I think being raised in a certain way, I mean, how you're raised is who you are. So, I was just going to say, not necessarily staying on the subject too long, just to get to the next one. There were some people who said some things in the comment section yesterday, the reaction to your segment on here, that you were not too fond of seeing, that you didn't see initially, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not hip to this, this YouTube live and people's live comments. When you did it in my shop, you were looking at the comments. I never looked at the comments. So comments are flying by, that when people put them up, I'd like to comment on them. First, I'd also like to say, if anybody thinks I'm opinionated, they haven't met my sisters.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, there's some comments here. Let's just go back yesterday in some of the comments. Mike Westfall called me a crybaby. It's one of my favorites.
Why are you a crybaby? What do you think he meant by what part do you think he was calling you a crybaby over?
I think they think I'm complaining. And I see people saying I'm jealous. I see I'm jealous and I'm a crybaby. But this is a common tactic that people use when someone speaks up to try to discredit. The first thing they do in court is they try to discredit the witness, your credibility. They try to tag you with something like this. So this is common. This is what people do. I don't know who Mike Westfall is. He can call into the show, maybe explain it. My favorite was Cosmic Patriot said, "This guy is not good for your channel. You should hang up."
I heard that by a lot of people, Joe. A lot of people were saying that.
You should hang up. Well, these people can go listen to Wing Nation or Justin Fielder or listen to the radio. We're not asking anybody to listen. I don't care if they listen. And Kelly,
it seems like we already got an apology in the channel here, or in the chat.
Apology.
Is this the Michael Sayer? Did Michael Sayer say something?
For my comment. Well, I didn't see any of his comments. Well, I'm not looking for apologies. I just like the comment. This girl Kelly said, "Why am I saying what I'm saying? What am I trying to accomplish?" So she was concerned with, what am I trying to accomplish? I'd like to state to her, I'm not trying to accomplish anything. I have no goal of accomplishing anything. And then another person commented that Buddy didn't do good in a stock car. And what I realized here is, some of the people listening, this is like the first time listening to me, or they just bounce in and out. I've been on Chaz's channel now over the past 2 weeks quite a bit. And we discussed Rico's truck career, and I think Buddy's is the same. They put him in an inferior car, and then they blame him for the bad result, and because they didn't want to move him up. I think that's pretty common knowledge. Isn't that how NASCAR works?
Yeah.
So for someone to say Buddy failed in a stock car, they didn't listen to our earlier show or something. But My favorite comment, we'll get one more comment, then we'll get to the high limit race. But my favorite comment was someone wanted to know how I paid my college tuition. Apparently they're implying that that I was saying these people's families spend money on racing. So when he heard I have a college degree, he went to, well, wait a minute, your family, spent money on me to go to college. So he wants me to answer that question, which is a good question. How did I get through college? Well, I entered college in September of 1975 at San Jose State. The tuition for a semester was $96. College was not popular in the mid-'70s. Yeah, the semester was $96, and my books for a semester were $80. So let's just round that up to $200 a semester, $400 a year.
Wow. Parking
was 25 cents, which most of the time I got for free because I was on the baseball team, and a guy ran the parking lot. He knew I was on the baseball team, and he let me slide on the 25 cents. I did live at home when I was 18. San Jose State was 7.5 miles away. That summer I worked in an automotive repair shop, and I made $2.05 an hour. And I worked about 50 hours a week. So I cleared about $70 a week, and I worked that job for 10 weeks, so I had $700. So that $700 paid my college. There was no burden on my parents. Now, I also played on the baseball team when I was a freshman, and they gave me a scholarship for the next year. So the next year I was on scholarship. And also that summer I worked at a machine shop where I made $3.25 an hour, and I worked 40 hours a week. So I cleared about $100 a week, and I worked 12 weeks during the summer, the whole summer, and I had a little over $1,000. So me going to college, I did drive a car my parents first me with. It was a station wagon that had been in 2 crashes, and all 3 sides of it were damaged, and the only door that would open was the passenger door. So I drove a car that, only the passenger side opened, which I liked because I didn't have to care about it getting stolen or crashed. And then my 4th year in college, I got an academic scholarship for my grades. So that was another semester where I got a scholarship. So and then I started my business when I was still in college. And then I bought my own car. So pretty much my college tuition, me going to college was no burden on my parents. I did still live at home, though. I mean, I moved out before I graduated. But about the first 4 years in college, I still lived at home. So that was the burden, maybe, if someone wants to know how I did it.
Well, I heard a lot more so of opinions of that, your opinion's your opinion, but I guess some people are taking it as very negative. They say your opinions are just negative on everything.
Well, no, I'm only explaining what happened to me.
Right. Well, yeah, I understand, but just opinions on like a Tanner Holmes or racing or Golubics or anything.
No, I've explained myself on Tanner Holmes many times already. I don't know why I have to keep saying the same thing.
Well, they probably do exaggerate what you actually say. I mean, that's kind of, they're just mad. They're triggered.
I think they're just listening to partial of what I say. And, I don't know. They'd have to be specific on what is actually considered negative. I'm not sure what did I say was negative.
I don't know. I think It does go back to wanting the rose-colored glasses on. I think a lot of people do just want to believe that, the stars of our sports, the people we see up front, the glamour, the love, the family, the aspect of happiness, even though it may be murked up in all these different dealings and Hendrix and all this stuff, they would like to believe the Hollywood theme is not as bad as the reality of the situation. I think that's really what they saw you as being negative, is how you painted the racing world picture, I guess, is what it seems like, even though,
I'm negative because Gene Haas committed federal crimes? I'm negative?
I don't know. I think not just Gene Haas. I'm just saying the whole racing thing. Like, I think that's what it is. I just think it's, potentially people in positions.
I'm being negative because I talk about it.
Right. I guess they see it as you're only
people who
pointing
do
out
it-
the
the
negative
people who do
and
it aren't-
ignoring the positive. I guess it would be their way of saying it. Only giving attention to the negative.
So everything I said was negative?
I don't think so. I don't agree. But that's how it came across. The opinions came across.
Well,
Not your opinions, but the opinion of your opinion.
Well, then,
you know?
Well, then just title the show The Negative Hour.
The Negative Hour? That's funny. Backwards in time.
We'll just be the Negative Hour. If you want to hear negative things, you come here. And if you want to hear
people
positive
just say
things,
it's the
you can go
truth. Why does the truth always have to be kind of in that negative sector? I feel like it is always. The truth is always in that negative sector.
Well, I think it's because people have lived untruthful lives.
Very
like
true.
I said before, I'll talk about anything I've done. The guy asked me about my college. I tried to explain it. You know, it's 50 years ago or 48 years ago, so I tried to explain it as clearly as I could. And if anybody asks me anything about anything I've done, I'll try to explain it as clearly as I can. And I'm trying to explain my journey into the racing world as clearly as I can. If what I'm saying is negative, it's because I was treated negative. I didn't create the negativity. I'm just telling you what happened to me.
Right.
I mean, if there's people with positive stories, they can come on the show and tell their stories.
Right.
I don't know anybody else's story. I just know my story.
Well, a lot of people are afraid to tell the truth in this racing world too. So I think it's so shocking to some because they never hear it. It's like you're the only one being negative, whereas in reality, and people say the same about me, in reality, we're not being negative. We're just being honest. And everybody else is kind of projecting a false reality most of the time in the racing world.
Well, that's what I see it as. I mean, what do they see? You'd have to have other people's views. I mean, this is just my view. I don't know what. It's different than 40 years ago. I think you'd have to go back. You know, we're talking about current events. We're not talking about what I joined in 1986 at San Jose. That was way more fun. The people I met, the friends, lifelong friends that I met 40 years ago that I still have, and the fun of it and the competition of it and the camaraderie of what it was 40 years ago is nothing like now. It's not even the same. You know, maybe I'm older, so, you know, time is, you know, my time came and went. So I don't know what it's like for a 20-year-old now, but the people I met, the hardworking middle-class racers where we competed and we helped each other and we lent stuff to each other and we respected each other's equipment on the track, and, you know, we hung out after the races and I visited Holmes with these guys, and like I said, still friends with these people today. I mean, that's what it was then.
Well,
it's not that now.
Yeah, well, but what is now? What is good? What is coming? Is there anything good coming, Joe? Or do you just see it? Well, once again, product of your environment, I think. You're over there in California and saying in 10 years it may be done is a very honest opinion, but that may be, I just kind of randomly said that. That may be where people see or try to label it as negative. You know, who wants to hear that the thing we love is going to die in 10 years, you know?
Well, to me, the most positive thing I see is Brad Sweet. I really think his heart's in the right place. He loves the sport. You know, he eventually wants to step away from it. You know, it's dangerous, and he's done it. He's made a good living. But when I hear him talk, it sounds like everything he says is a good idea. Whether it works, I don't know. But I think Brad is trying to help. I think he's doing things the right way or the best he can. So that seems like a positive. But this is just his first year in doing something like this. And I don't know how you would grade the high limit series for the year. Do you give it a B? Is it like a B plus? I mean,
well, I guess that could pirouette us
seems like
into
it went
tomorrow or to last night's race, if you want. Crowd was big. It was, I talked to Jeremy Elliott. He's like, you think they're going to get fans? I mean, I was like, well, I think they are. I mean, they definitely hit it out of the park, it looked like, as far as fans last night. They didn't have that problem.
But I almost can't deny the fact that they had one high limit race last year and they had 10 this year. There's been 11 races. And 25 of the 33 podium spots have been California drivers. I don't know why it's always so California dominant. I mean, last night the top 4 were dominant, and if Buddy didn't make a mistake, it would have been top 5.
In a PA track, basically, right? At a PA event. I mean, kind of. I mean, Bridgeport's not PA. But it is on the border of PA. It's right there.
I mean, Justin had never even run there. I don't know how many times Corey or Buddy or any of those guys had ever even raced there.
And it does seem
I don't
to
think
be.
Any of them even raced.
It does seem to be the California guys are always up front in everything, high limit. Although, I mean, when you got Rico and Larson, have they even finished outside the top 3 yet?
I think Rico has 7 podiums in a row, they said.
Is that worth watching? I guess would be the question going forward if no outlaws.
Well, you asked me on the show yesterday. You asked me yesterday on the show my prediction. I said, "Are Kyle and Rico going to be there?" You said, "Yeah," right. And I said, "Well, okay, there you go."
Well, Kofoid
had Buddy made a mistake.
Yeah, he had a chance.
I don't know what he was doing.
He was driving overly aggressive last night. Oddly aggressive to me.
No. Well, he did my cardinal #1 rule mistake of trying a slide job from too far back. I don't know what he was doing. He had 15 laps to go. If it was the last lap, that's an okay move, but with 15 to go, it was an immature move. It's unusual for Buddy to do that.
Yeah, there was a sector in there when Larson had a run, a very similar run to the inside of Rico and woed up on it, entering 3. I think it was like 20 to go. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about, but he had a chance. He could have pulled it, go ahead.
That's a good observation. Good observation. You're saying Kyle woed up. It looked to me like Kyle was woeing up quite a bit last night.
He was not as aggressive.
I've watched Kyle, I think, as much as anybody. And was he trying to win?
Are you? My mind instantly goes to, are you telling me he's going to purposely lose the championship to Rico to keep credibility within the series?
No.
That's what my mind went to.
You might lose a race or two. You might lose a race or two to tighten up the point race and make this. If he went out there and won 8 in a row, what would it look like?
Wow. I did not draw that conclusion when I saw that, but it was definitely an uncharacteristic Kyle move. Usually Kyle goes for those.
Well, it wasn't just that move. He faded back to 4th at one point, didn't he? How often do you see Corey Larson driving by Kyle? Can you show me another race this year where Kyle all of a sudden looks kind of lackluster and falling back to 2nd and 3rd, and now he's in 4th, and then he's
running. There was one point he was running down Rico, and he goes into 3 and 4 and goes like 3 car lengths above the cushion, uncharacteristically, when he had already been faster through that corner than Rico. But he just randomly tried that line and lost 3 or 4 car lengths.
Just uncharacteristic. It just didn't look like the Kyle that we all know and love. That's all I'm saying. To my eye,
it sounds like you're saying he's trying to manufacture championship drama in the series.
Am I being negative, Chaz?
That's what the Larsonites say. Yes, the Larson Illuminati. Somebody just said it in the comments. Illuminati. They are an Illuminati.
Oh.
Kyle is for sure an Illuminati. I've been to his little, underground lair in Charlotte.
You talk about Kyle a lot because you get more. It's clickbait, so we got to talk about Kyle.
First of all, Kyle Larson. I did not. When I first started making videos, I didn't talk anything about Kyle Larson. He came talk shit to me first, so he started all this.
Okay, but let me just say this. Let me just give you my opinion. I won't be negative. Kyle is the greatest talent I think I've ever seen. Okay.
Yeah, suck his dick.
Now you can talk about who got chances and who didn't get chances, but Kyle's the greatest.
Oh.
He's proven it time and time again. He's won Knoxville, he's won Chili Bowl, he's won NASCAR, he's winning it all, Chaz. Okay, Kyle's the best.
Yeah.
What I saw last night
was not
the Kyle
that we've
I've
watched all these years.
That's right. That's all I'm saying. Maybe the car was off. Maybe he had a bad night.
I'm sorry, but this is making sense to me. The fix is actually in.
That's all I'm saying.
It really did poke out in my head, and I almost want to pull the footage up. I don't know if I can, but from my recollection, it was extremely odd how out of nowhere he had a huge run and he woke up on it. And now that you're telling me or explaining to me how he just was making uncharacteristic mistakes, which is very true, and to add the angle of to make the points race tighter makes plenty of sense to me. And you're right. How many times has Corey Eliason drove by Kyle Larson? When have we seen that?
And Buddy.
And Buddy. Yes.
And Kyle Reinhardt was almost ready to do it. And he said, well, I can't make it look too obvious.
Wow. I can't believe I missed this one, Joe. You have solved all the mysteries of the day.
Well, but once again, Chaz, I'm being negative. So I don't know if you should hang up.
It's hard to not be negative. Well, and then you had this wing situation. I sent you that screenshot of that, didn't I, Joe?
You're saying his right side panel was kicked out of all of a sudden?
That's what someone on Twitter was assuming. On purpose. Although I really can't tell what he's talking about. Can you walk me through it, Joe? Can you walk me through that picture that was
No,
sent?
I didn't really look close enough. I know sometimes I run wings.
Page.
Well, I run wings that are so thin sometimes that they deform, with the wind.
Yeah, we got it up on the screen
when
now.
When I just looked at it, it kind of looked like a wing that just the wing had deformed it. It's kind of what it
does
was.
have a wave to it, and even on I'm trying to look at the video right now to try to bring up that sector that it stuck in my mind when I saw it because I saw Larson get the run and then all of a sudden and I was like, oh, is he getting smarter behind the wheel or more patient or what's going on here?
No, it just looked to me like he has a thin wing panels, and the wind just deforms it, so it has a slight curvature to it.
Well, and you can see it on the replay right there. What part we're talking about? You could see it's bent in right there. It looks damaged, but I'm sure if you were smart enough, you could figure out what kind of curvature that sideboard likes and just say it's damaged and leave it that way. I'm sure there's a way to bend that wind or bend the air a little bit more, especially when it's got that pocket in it like that. It's going to catch a little more air on that right sideboard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My wings have done that because I have like 1/6 material. I have thinner material. You see, Rico's isn't doing it though.
Yeah, no one else's is.
But it is strange that it's deforming down the straightaway.
Right. That
usually
means
what
it's
happens,
already done.
When you turn the car. Yeah.
And this is the green flag of the race, Joe. This is the green flag of the race. Why is there always something with Kyle? Why does he need to pull these things off? What's the why? Why? Is he giving us material? Is that what he's doing? Is this how he gives me something? Is this how he pays me? Is doing this stuff on purpose? The watches and now this shit.
He's probably just seeing if we're on the ball, if we're paying attention.
Well, he might be just fucking with us. He's like, all right, let's do this so Chaz and Joe will talk about it or something. Chaz will talk about this. Yeah, let's do it.
A wicker bill eagle, that thing only 2 inches?
I mean, I'm just saying, this is the green flag of the race. This is not like halfway
was it like
through.
That? Was it like that in the heat race or the dash?
I'm not sure. This is the green flag of the A. It's not like they didn't have time to fix it. But I was trying to go through here and find this part. I swear Rico, he had this huge giant run on Rico, and he completely gave it up. I had never seen it like that.
Well, even the
I think
start
this
of the
is
race.
it right here. This is it right here, I believe. No. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, look at even the start. Look at, you can watch the whole.
Yeah, he's throwing her in there now after
But
he fell back.
Chaz, we're being negative.
I know.
This isn't going to fly with the public. You're going to lose viewers with your negativity. You're going to blame it on me.
I have to blame it on someone, Joe. Yeah, I can't find this part that I was talking about, but I vividly remember it. And then hold on, let's see. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Nope. It was in the beginning of the race, I believe. You can't broadcast or show the web page on flowracing.com, or I would go there. I guess we could look at this Buddy Kofoid incident. I mean,
well, I just messed up. It's a bad decision.
Where was it at? Right here. I mean, he goes for the lead. I think that was the right decision, just a little too much.
No, he didn't.
I think that was the right way to go with it.
Back. No. He maybe he did not see maybe he didn't see the lap car because his vision. Maybe he just didn't.
That might be actually very true.
He maybe that guy hit the line of sight. If you pause it right there, or, well, I don't know where you're. He might not have seen that car because that car was hidden behind Rico's car.
Right.
Because the guy was higher on the track. So when Buddy starts diving under him, he doesn't see. That's what it looked like to me. He just didn't see that
and
guy.
He initially makes the shoot right there. Like right there, you're committed. I paused it at a certain spot.
Yeah.
But right here, you're going for it. I don't know. I feel like you would be able to see Zomer at this angle.
Once he got past Rico, he could see him, but like 10 feet before, right when he's deciding to do it.
I paused it at a different area. I think you could see him right here on the track. You could see that there's another car ahead of Rico. You're probably behind a little bit on the live video, but I've stopped it as they're midway down the back straightaway, and Kofoid's to the inside of Kyle Spence. I think he could visibly see the car ahead entering the corner at this angle. I don't know.
Maybe the other car kind of had a bad corner and didn't get off the corner well. And
yeah, I mean, backing up to before it happened, I mean, I keep wanting to say Jordal because Jordal is the car owner of that 3J. But I paused it right here entering the corner. I mean, he's on the bottom coming off of 2, a pretty decent amount of ways away. Yeah, you wouldn't think that they would be able to close up in on him, but yeah, must have just had a bad corner and a bad entry.
Yeah, Buddy has a good corner coming off there. I just, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's what you call a racing incident. You'd have to hear what Buddy.
Oh, hold on. I think I found my spot where he held up on him, and this is 7 to go, Joe. I think I found it where he lifted on him. Yeah. I'm sorry. I think regular Kyle goes right there. I found it. 7 to go. Regular Kyle goes for it. I know that this is tight right here, but regular Kyle shoots that gap right there. He doesn't hit the brakes.
Wait. Isn't that the exact same gap that he drove under Schuhart at the I-55 race?
Yes, it was. Well, I mean, and sure as hell, Kyle don't just lift. Sure as
Rico's
hell,
not
Kyle
on the
don't
bottom.
lift. No.
Rico's
Or
there's a,
well, I'm just saying, either he sees he's not going to go underneath him, or he would have at least swung it high and drove that momentum. He's got how many miles per hour do you have on Rico right here?
20.
I mean, yeah. You're telling me somebody going for the win destroys all that momentum and doesn't go high or low or anywhere, just hits the brakes and hopes he gathers it up? This is the move that was stuck out in my mind.
I have to point this out, Chaz.
I mean,
Yeah,
I remember this vividly, and I brought this up. I did not look at it from the angle of manufacturing a championship battle at the final race. But I have never seen Kyle Larson surrender like that. That is surrendering. At least the surrendering of the momentum. Look at that.
Well, there's a gap there, too. Rico's not on the bottom.
No, he's not. He's almost exactly where he was on the track with the Kofoid slider. Yeah.
But what did he do to Logan Schuhart? What did he do to Schuhart at Peevely?
He sure as hell didn't do that. Look, I'm trying to see.
Oh, he drove it in. He drove Schuhart right. He drove Schuhart right up to the wall, didn't he?
It's not. He's not on the track where he was with the Kofoid deal, but my God, guys, that's a surrender.
Can you pull up the Peevely highlights, the last lap, what he did to Schuhart? Can you put that up? Can you go World of Outlaws Peevely highlights?
Sorry, just got a test of National Wireless Emergency Service System. I guess they're prepping us for something else coming here soon. Who knows what's coming, Joe? Who knows? Yeah, but we got to see the chat. How are people not seeing this? That is unbelievable, guys. Look how quiet they are, Joe. They're so quiet. We need that super chat. There's a little money sign. We need to make $2 or $3 today so I can eat lunch. So send some super chats or join the membership. Anyway, there's my harmless plug. Let's get this world.
So now you're getting you get an emergency. If we question this, we get emergency alerts.
We get emergency alerts. I literally did just get an emergency. This is Illuminati. This is how they work. That was the Friday night, Joe. Yes. Or that was the Monday night. That was the Saturday night at I-55.
Peevely on Saturday. Can you find that highlight? Let's compare them.
Working on finding it right now. Chat's up on the screen right now, guys. What? Let's hear your excuses. Kyle and Rico are buddies. So that was a payback for the, was that like another scratch my back for the whole Tri-City situation?
Well, Rico's run the whole series. He supported him.
Oh, my God, Joe. Oh, my God. We have Kyle red-handed here. Now, here is the highlight. Oh, my God. Wow.
Okay,
wow.
You got the Peevely highlight?
It is up on the screen. This is on
the
final
lap
lap
of
the Ironman 55. And hold on. Just watch this.
Just
watch how Kyle lifted on Rico.
Yeah.
To, I think now, manufacture a championship battle. But this is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why it is so odd, because this is Kyle Larson driving a sprint car right here. Watch this.
That's the guy I know.
Whoa. Very short, treacherous conditions for the win. Not just for a championship. You got to think about it. Him lifting at Bridgeport was lifting in a championship and a race win battle. This is just racing for a win. You're telling me the guy that pulls that move right there is a guy who lifts with a 20-mile-per-hour run and 2 lanes to choose from? He sees Schuhart coming down. There ain't no guess here.
He drove Schaar all the way up the track, didn't he? Look at Logan has nowhere to go.
Where
He
was
pinned
this
Logan.
guy? Where was this guy
Okay, let's look.
last night, Joe?
Look at it from Logan's point of view. Okay, now go back and show last night again.
Oh,
Now that we've seen this.
I am. Hold on. Let me get this.
Can you split screen them? Too bad you can't put them both up side by side.
I don't think we can.
Okay, you don't need to be side by side. You just
yeah,
film back to
side
back.
by side is a little overkill. Let me get the chat back up while I bring up the other clip. How about this, guys? Amazing discovery. Actually, it's right here. Amazing discovery, and I'm going to say manufacturing a championship battle here because this guy right here is Kyle Larson racing for a win. For a win. And how much was the Ironman? 20,000?
Yeah, and this was 23 last night.
And this is 23,000 and a championship. This is a championship battle, 1-2. And he does this. What is that, Joe? When this happened, it stuck out in my mind. Initially, I was like, man, he's being a smart driver. Wow, he's being patient. Look at the patience he just used. Wow. That's what popped in my head. But in reality, Joe, this is what's in my head. I'm expecting this.
Your boy Spike said the front row wins again. It's the first time the front row has won at a high limit.
Yeah, Spike's a little biased towards late models, so he's gonna just trash sprint car racing all he can.
Well, I don't want. Am I negative if I say that? I'm just checking the negative meter on.
I just can't believe what you have the thought bubble that you have provided the world, Joe. I really did not see that angle. I should have sat and thought a little bit.
Well,
but now that you say it, it makes all the sense in the world.
I don't know. That's
why he lifted right there to manufacture a championship battle in the series that he runs. Oh, that sounds like it would never happen, right?
Why I'm on the show.
Wow.
You wanted me to comment on the race, and I'm just telling you what it looked like to me.
The video has already been flagged by Flow Racing, Joe. Our live video is flagged. That means I have to go and submit permission to continuously using the highlight and everything. They're coming after us. We got national alerts. We got videos being flagged. There's no doubt this guy's Illuminati. There's no doubt, Joe.
So when this YouTube video goes on replay, the video won't be there?
It will be there, but it's going to flag the video and demonetize the video. So I can't
that's
make
okay. You make no money at it. You making no money, that's fine.
Yeah, thanks a lot. No super chats either. Yeah, thanks a lot. I just can't believe this. I don't know. I don't know what to say, Joe. I don't know what to say.
Kyle was very gracious last night, running second.
Yeah, and even some of the moves he was pulling late, I was like, who is this guy? But he comes from the NASCAR world. Do you know how much money moved in Vegas when Dale Earnhardt Jr. was out front in the summer of 2001 saying he was half throttle pulling away from the field at Daytona? There's a lot of money on the line for someone else to win that race. So, I mean, they talk about fixing baseball games and football games, but horse racing's always been interesting as well. But when you can gamble on mechanical horses known as race cars, oh my! Let's move some money today. Wow!
I'm sure Kyle will be aggressive on the last race. You watch.
I don't know. Would it be? I feel like it would be bad press if he wins it. I feel like he will manufacture losing the race or losing the championship.
I'm not sure their point system. Rico gained 5 points by winning in Kyle's second. He's 15 behind. So I don't know the point breakdown.
Honestly,
each
from
race. I don't
a
know.
marketing perspective, and I'm good at this stuff.
Yeah.
From a marketing perspective, I think it would look bad if Kyle wins the championship, but I think it would look extremely good if Rico does win the championship, especially if they're trying to pirouette into next year and go after the Outlaws with this high-limit all-star merger deal that's happening no matter what anyone else says it's happening. And they're trying to manufacture Rico as the star, and he's got a damn good resume this year. I mean, against Outlaws, you know, Kyle's got a decent resume in his career against the Outlaws. But this year, it would, if you was to say Rico Abreu's the hottest driver of 2023, you got a debatable topic there. You know, even though he's not a full-time outlaw, he's not racing for outlaw championships. But he's won against the Outlaws on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And he's ran well against Kyle in this. I think marketing-wise, you want Rico Abreu as your champion.
Well, like any kind of deception, it's best to make it look so real that it's debatable.
All I got to say is what I just said about you want Rico as your champion.
Yeah.
That sounds like the thought in Kyle's mind right here. I got to run. Oh, we need him as the champion. And to solidify, I think what they should do to solidify Kyle's legacy in this, because he's definitely don't want to tarnish himself. He wants to be the savior of sprint car racing. That's obviously the campaign, right, Joe? Rico or Kyle and Sweet, they are going to save sprint car racing, make it better than it ever could have been because of them. So there is an aspect of ego involved, although this is an ego-based sport. My point is they should put some kind of mechanical device into the bleeder, have Kyle leading the race, Rico running second at Leakin Park, and then have like the bleeder blow out. That way he has like a flat tire and he loses the championship that way, not necessarily being outdrove. So then they can market both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when I called in, you didn't even notice this.
It is scary how you just made me see this. Oh my. That's crazy.
Oh. You know, I should point out, too, I didn't point out when I went to college, I rode my bike there hundreds of times. I didn't point that out in my opening, how I got to... I rode my bicycle many times to college.
I can't believe this.
Just thought I'd throw that in.
Of course
Break up...
you did. Of course you did. That's unbelievable to me. He orchestrated the results by lifting 20 kilos.
You're saying out of all the stories Joey has told you and stories I've told you, you're saying this looks unbelievable.
That don't look right.
Well, someone said no one cares. No one cares that I rode my bike. Luke Walker. Well, somebody cared because they asked about how I got through college. So Luke, there was one person who cared. If Luke Walker has a question that he wants me to care about, have him ask it. Is this Luke Skywalker? Just Luke Walker?
No, it's a midget. It's a micro racer from California. He's definitely not getting in the 121 now.
Micro, what tracks he run at?
Look at this Hulk Hogan.
How would you know that?
Joe.
I think when I watch the video, I'm way behind you.
You are. Do you have anything else to say, Joe? Okay, I actually have a NASCAR insider who wants to call in and comment on this.
Yeah, I'm done. I have nothing to say.
Is there anything you want to say to the haters?
No, I have nothing to say.
No,
just get to the next guy. You wasted enough time with me.
Get a job and grow up.
What?
Get off YouTube. Stop talking to Joe on YouTube. Just go get a job and slave your life away. Is that what you want to tell me? Or the haters? Sorry.
No, keep buying cards and breaking them open.
Hey, man. I've sold. We sold some more today. They were in a bidding war this morning.
Come on, these shows drag on too long. Hang up and go to the next guy. You say you have NASCAR
Joe.
Insider.
Okay, Joe is signing off.
Bye.
You're going to be joining us weekly, correct? Daily?
Whenever you want to call me, whenever there's a demand.
Okay, whenever the demand is high. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye to Broke Joe, ladies and gentlemen. That was Jovan Schriltz. And now we are calling our NASCAR insider, Clark Kent. So, yes, as we all know, Kyle Larson might be Superman in his own mind, but he is not Superman in the world. We are talking to Clark Kent, if he will answer the phone. See if he'll answer the phone or not. Hello, do we have Clark Kent on the phone?
What's going on, Chaz?
How you doing? So, we just broke down how Kyle Larson has manufactured a championship battle in the High Limit Series. It's very true. I don't know if you saw him lift on Rico last night.
I saw a couple lifts. I didn't just see one.
Right, and that's the theory right now, is that Kyle Larson is manufacturing a championship battle with Rico.
I think they kind of have to a certain extent, but I'm not going to play the whole conspiracy card, Chaz. I think they're just trying to build something, and I think Kyle had a way better car, and really it should have been a Buddy Kofoid win, but then he decided to go bananas into turn 3. So,
okay,
but that's a whole nother story. And that's another reason why he's not going to make it in NASCAR, because,
whoa, what do you mean? Who's not going to make it in NASCAR, sir?
Buddy.
Okay,
Kofoid.
Buddy Kofoid. I thought you said they last time we had you on here, Clark, you said he wasn't going to make it because they don't have any rides open.
Well, that too. But it doesn't help that you crash your late model the first time you hop in the car.
Well, that's true. And then the
break
Arcadillo
your
at the
wrist.
coin where it flew like last lap or whatever. What was that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a
didn't he
Arca
race
dirt
on the
race,
dirt
right?
mile on the Arca car and got in this huge flip wreck or something?
Yeah. So he kind of just basically took a great potential opportunity to a big zero. But hey, one of the things you got to kind of call Joe out on a little bit. If there is a merger, like if you look at the money that
You're talking about
High Limit pays
All-Stars?
out, yeah. If you combine the money that these guys throw out, you're talking almost $4 million in prize money. Okay. That's pretty good for the limited amount of races that they do, right? $4 million. World of Outlaws is 64 races so far this year, and they're at $4.6 million paid out in prize money across the entire field of everyone that showed up. So,
interesting.
If you kind of do the math, call it $3.7 million, and Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet charge $25,000 for a sanctioning fee, like what World of Outlaws does. There's on 64 races, that's $1.6 million. I don't put it out of the realm of possibility, man, that High Limit completely takes over World of Outlaws next year, because if Flow Racing throws out a little bit more money, yeah, of course. Dude, Flow Racing brings in just under $15 million a year. And Flow Sports is like a $130 million a year company. So you tell me that they wouldn't be willing to throw in $2 million, on top of everything else that they have going. Like, how much money does Flow Racing give All-Star Series? Right? For the amount of money that they're giving and the sponsors that they have, and obviously a lot of the sponsors sponsor the All-Stars, also sponsor High Limit, that big chunk of change could just go to one series. And also, if you think about it, Chaz, those that are supporting World of Outlaws could be like, you know what, maybe we're just done with you guys. You guys just do the whole late model thing. Forget about the sprint cars.
Right.
And all of that money comes over. And guess what? High Limit can pay out $6 million, $7 million a year in prize money, guaranteed money, and only do 60 races.
I mean, if real money ever comes to the sport, it's over for the Outlaws. Real money.
Oh, it's already over. Chaz, it's already over.
You think
it's just
over?
When are they going to die? Are they going to die next year, or are they going to die in 2025?
If you think it's over, why is it over?
Why is it over? Because the contracts that they make these teams sign and these drivers sign is ludicrous, you know? Like, you have some of these guys that go and chase money, they're making it, they could do a bad year, 600,000 in winnings, up to $1 million, $1.5 million. Right?
Yeah.
How is it that the point leader's only done what, $350,000? How much has Brad Sweet won this year? 350 grand? Look it up. It's a laughing stock. He's going to make more. He's potentially going to make more money, you know, in the guaranteed and the championship than actual winnings of racing.
It is pretty sad that they're not racing for real money. I mean, in every other entertainment sport, you get paid real money if you're the best. That just doesn't happen in dirt, really. It does a little bit, but not to the extent that it should. Between
World Racing Group and Dirt Vision on the low end, they're $22 million a year in revenue.
Okay.
You know, across their vast array of different things that they do. You know, but then again, how much money do they charge in all of these sanctioning fees, right? Like, obviously, a World of Outlaw race is going to be $25,000.
Right.
Right?
At
minimum.
I don't know. We don't know. Right?
No, it is. I did some research. I talked to a couple track owners. They said it's 20 to 25,000.
Okay.
So, and then obviously, if you want, you know, a certain somebody to show up, obviously you gotta add that to the pot as well, right?
Now, you were also saying, I know we had talked earlier in the week, we were going to do some NASCAR topics, I thought.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
And obviously, I brought up the Chase situation here. They're doing the 8-car cut, right, this weekend, I believe, correct? It's 8?
Yeah, at the Roval, yeah.
And
yep.
Obviously, Kyle has not been doing well here. I believe you were the one who told me that you think that Kyle Larson needs a driver coach, and it was after this incident, I believe, at Texas, where he spins out racing with Bubba Wallace, basically had the car to win this event.
He had the car to win at Texas like he had the car to win last night.
Right. I feel like he was trying to win this race, though. All the silent racists, obviously, are blaming Bubba Wallace for this. But you're coming at this from rationality. You're saying that Kyle Larson can't really drive this new NASCAR next-gen car. I mean, he's overdriving the vehicle and needs a driver's coach. Is what you're telling me.
No, okay.
You told me that
the other day. I'm telling you.
That's what you said.
Okay, so yeah, maybe he needs a driver coach. Maybe he needs a performance coach. I don't know.
But I can tell you that. Do I need to repeat what you told me?
Okay, all right. You
added
want
logic to it. You're not making an idiotic claim here.
How many race wins does Kyle Larson have this year in the Cup car?
I don't know.
You don't know? He's got 3 wins this year.
He should have more than that, though.
He's got 7 DNFs this year.
And are they? And from your explanation, you're thinking it's because of him.
It's a combination of him, and he's spoken about it publicly that every single time he drives to 100%, he crashes the car or he has a bad day. And the big issue, the one thing that Kyle Larson has never driven is a sports car. In everything that he's done, He's never driven a sports car. But guess what he's driving right now?
I thought he won the one of the divisions in the Rolex 24.
Yeah, that was in the DPI days where you could run flat out.
Okay.
So in today's car, in the Cup car, you cannot drive it to 100%. You drive it to 100%, you'll crash. You drive it to 95%, you'll crash. You got to drive it to 89, 90%. Anything over that, you're going to crash.
And why is that? Why is that the situation with the next gen car?
Because Kyle's used to driving a sprint car with a massive right rear tire with just a massive carcass where he can bounce it off the lip, right?
Well,
and that's why he was so successful when
the older Cup car tires, they had the bigger sidewall that would lean over.
And where could Kyle run? Could Kyle run? Up against the wall.
Right, and these
sidewalls
are very thin, so once they go, they go. So
yeah, so
no
Kyle's warning. There's zero. And that's why I'm saying that when you drive it to 100, you're going to crash. You drive it to a 95%, you crash. You drive it to 89, 90, you're on the limit. Because it's such a small tire, Chaz, that once you just lose it a little bit, there's no catching it. But if you're driving at 88, 87%, guess what? You can catch it. Because you're giving yourself more time.
Well, I think with Kyle as well in NASCAR, he can catch it 70% of the time, but there's those 30% of the times where you can't, no matter who you are, and since he has the ability to catch it 70% of the time, he's always pushing it that far 100% of the time, and 30% of the time he loses the race because of that.
He's got 13 top 5s and 15 top 10s. This is an absolutely horrible Cup season for him.
Yeah, that's not a good stat. That's not good stats at all.
So the one thing I will 1,000,000,000% agree with Joe, who I caught just a snippet of what he said, and I will agree to him to the day I die that Kyle Larson is probably the greatest driver I've ever seen drive a race car.
Okay.
In person. I've seen that kid do things unbelievable. There's no reason whatsoever that William Byron should have 6 wins and Kyle Larson has 3 wins.
William Byron has a driver's coach, though.
He's got Max Pappas. Yeah, he does have a driver coach, yes. But you got to remember, here's the thing. Max Pappas has been with William Byron since he started racing in cars. So he's had the guidance. Who's been guiding Kyle Larson outside of business people that know how to drive a race car? Nobody.
Paul Silver.
He's been relying on his natural ability. He's been relying on his natural ability for his entire life. Imagine if this guy actually just had somebody to just bounce things off that was just dedicated to his performance of driving the race car and the things that he could do better driving the race car. I think he would be there. He would have 12 wins this year if he had like a Max Pappas to bounce stuff off of.
Do you think that he believes he's too good to ask for that help?
No, I don't think he is. I think Kyle's just too busy.
Running sprint cars.
Everything. Kyle's just too damn busy. Juggling everything. That's what I think.
So do you think Hendrick needs to limit his dirt racing?
No. I think he just needs, me personally, I don't know if he has it today or not, but if he does have it, maybe there needs to be a change of a performance engineer, to try and help this guy be more successful on the NASCAR oval. That's all I'm saying. He obviously needs someone to bounce some of this stuff off of, or just needs that level of guidance. It's not much, Chaz.
Somebody in the chat says that we don't need to make excuses for his poor driving ability in NASCAR.
Well, that guy's an idiot.
That guy's an idiot. Living Missouri outdoors is an idiot.
Dude,
we're listening.
Dude, he's the greatest race car driver. even the greatest race car driver in the world has a driver coach, has a performance engineer that helps them overcome the day-to-day. Like, look at Formula One. They all have performance engineers. They all have driver coaches that help them elevate their game. I don't think he has that. And I'm just saying that if he had that, he would be completely unstoppable. And to be honest, if McLaren does this right at the Indy 500, okay, if he has the right people around him, he will win the Indy 500.
I think
Guaranteed.
he'll win the Indy 500. I think that IndyCar racing doesn't really have that great of a driver pool, personally.
It's
kind of like USAC. Nobody's trying to go be a USAC driver. Therefore, the fields are not as strong as they could be. Therefore, the people who are winning aren't necessarily beating a high level of competition because nobody's desiring to go there. Nobody's really going to IndyCar racing.
The only person that's got more talent than anybody in IndyCar racing is Alex Palou. And he's probably the only person there today on merit of pure talent with zero money.
Okay.
And he's got 2 IndyCar championships in 3 years.
Well, my point though is even for some of these rich kids who are good with driving or a asphalt car, which isn't that hard to do in my opinion, those people are not. They could spend the amount they spend in 1 year or 2 years in trucks and become an IndyCar driver. Nobody's pursuing it. That's my point. The competition's just not there.
Well, yeah, because in IndyCar, you're talking, $10-12 million to go race with Ganassi in IndyCar. You want to go do the Indy 500 with Ganassi. It's $2 million just for the Indy 500. You want to do it with a low budget team? Not saying that McLaren's a low budget team, but you could do it for $500,000. Not saying that you're going to make the Indy 500. But, if Rick Hendrick's not spending $1 million on this IndyCar program, then it's going to be a failure.
Right. You think so?
So it costs money to go fast, Chaz.
Well,
and if you don't think that Chevrolet, if Kyle does what Kyle Larson does in every other form, Chevrolet will give him the third best motor, which will probably be 1.5 horsepower off the best. And if you don't think that Kyle Larson could win, dude, he's going to spank the field.
I think he's that good. And I also think that the field's just not that strong. I don't think that it's that hard to win the Indy 500 anymore.
I think, the car is everything in the Indy 500. You got to have a handling car. Think of it as like NASCAR in the summer at Daytona. You need to have a handling car on that track. You go to Talladega, you don't need to have a handling car. You just need to mash the throttle. Daytona, you need to have a car that handles. Indy 500, you need to have a car that handles, especially if it's a really hot May day. So, but my biggest issue that I have with the whole Indy 500 project is that it's not with Ganassi. That's my biggest issue.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something to that or not.
$2 million.
That's it. It's the money.
$2 million.
Cars couldn't do the right amount.
If you want to do the Indy 500 right, Chaz, if you gave me $2 million, I would only go to Ganassi. I would not try and pocket $500,000 and go somewhere else. If I wanted a legit shot to go win the Indy 500, I would only go to Ganassi, nowhere else. I would not go to Roger Penske. I wouldn't go anywhere else. I would only go to Ganassi.
What do you think McLaren has to do to compete for Indy 500?
They gotta have the right personnel in place. I just really hope that they have the right personnel in place for the Indy 500, because the problem is, Chaz, when it comes to these projects, there's some teams that hit it, like AJ Foyt Racing. They only put their effort into the Indy 500. They don't put it in anywhere else. They only put full effort into the Indy 500, and you can see how fast their cars are because they're fast at Indy. but then you see them in all of the other circuits that they race at, they're absolutely terrible. It's because they only focus on the Indy 500.
Right.
If you look at Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, RLL, they missed the race with Graham Rahal. And they put a shit ton of time and resources into the Indy 500, and they almost missed with 2 cars.
Wow.
Like, that's the joke.
Yeah, that's not good.
Able Motorsports bumped them out, and they probably ran on $500,000.
Wow.
So it's all in the people that you have, Chaz. If you don't have the right people around you, you're not going to go fast. You're not going to be P1. You know, it's exactly what Joe was saying. You know, these guys out here spending, you know, $60,000 on a 360 motor to win 1,500. Same thing in IndyCar.
That's
it costs $250,000, $300,000 to do a race, and you're only going to win, you know, $42,000 at the end of the day.
Well, I guess if we're going to talk about asphalt a little bit, we can't not talk about this guy who got punched in the face. What happened there? Do you even know? It's like this crafting
Wait, the
thing.
sucker punch?
Is it
sucker
is it
punch?
really
Is that what they're calling it?
Come on now.
Is it a sucker punch, Chaz, when you see it coming?
Or is it a sucker punch when you do this on the racetrack? I mean, geez.
Well, Sanchez sucker punch Crafton at 200 miles an hour. So I think, you know, tapping somebody on the shoulder and saying, hey, we need to talk, and then, you know, breaking someone's nose, I think is fair at the end of the day.
Now, on this wreck, do you really see that as Sanchez's fault?
100,000%.
But Crafton's coming down into him.
Nah, I don't see that.
Where is he supposed to go?
I see Sanchez coming up.
Where is the guy supposed to go?
He's
got
supposed
a
to
truck
lift.
on his
He's
back.
supposed to lift.
You can't lift when there's a truck on your tailgate.
How many laps to go, Chaz?
You can't. All I'm saying is you can't lift when you got a truck on your tailgate.
Yeah, you can lift. 100% you can lift.
I don't see this as Crafton's fault. This is actually my first time watching the wreck. All I've seen is the fight. I don't see this as Sanchez's fault at all.
Dude, I don't like Matt Crafton. I can tell you, but based on etiquette and racing at super speedways, that was Sanchez's fault.
I don't see how this is Sanchez's fault. I just don't see it. Okay, so here's some background. They're coming off of 4. Crafton swings wide. Maybe he gave him a little bump to put him up the track. I mean, I guess he just got really aggressive off the exit of the corner. I mean, it kind of depends on if somebody's pushing him. But who in the hell is this freaking Nick Sanchez anyway? Who is he? Like, why? Nobody got fined or nothing. He threatened to kill Matt Crafton. I'm sure we've all seen the fight. Don't need to show that, but he threatened to kill a person on camera. He got hit in the mouth, obviously, or the nose, bloodied, but it looks like they were all just fine. Crafton was fined $25K. Sanchez was fined $5, and then his father, Renee, is that how you're saying? That's Mel's name? Wow. He's been suspended for the year, it says, or 2 races for the remaining 2 races.
They pulled his hard card because he also threatened Crafton. And I think not only did I think another reason why Crafton's fine was so big is not only did he get some punches in on, you know, baby Sanchez, but daddy Sanchez got some punches too. So I think Crafton took care of the whole family.
So who is this Nick Sanchez though? Why are they protecting him? Why are they allowing him to race after literally threatening to kill somebody?
Who just spent $40 million on a charter?
Spire Motorsports.
No, Spire didn't spend $40 million.
Oh, sorry, that was the truck deal. Who was it that spent the 40? I'm not a NASCAR connoisseur like you.
So here we go. So Gainbridge bought the charter for $40 million.
Gainbridge is who?
Gamebridge is basically a finance firm. They've been pretty big into the whole IndyCar thing. Gamebridge is behind the reason why Michael Andretti is now approved to open up a Formula One team. Gamebridge is trying to get their teeth into everything. So Gamebridge bought the charter for $40 million from DJ McLeod. Pretty much. And if we did some digging, BlackRock could be behind Gamebridge. Who knows?
Them, yeah, an
investor. They're probably invested.
Yeah.
So, and just so you're aware, you tell me where Spire Motorsports has $30 million to buy KBM, Kyle Busch Motorsports.
I don't know. There's a lot of interesting money games out there in the dirt NASCAR world.
So
and
guess what?
They must have made it by putting the truck race on at Knoxville.
Here's the funny thing, okay? So if you spend $40 million on a charter, you need to be able to fund a car, and you need a building. You need resources. So guess what? Gamebridge didn't just come in with $40 million to buy the charter. They also bought KBM for not only the truck, but also so that they have an area to expand to the 3 NASCAR Cup cars with Gamebridge. So it's Gamebridge and Spire are together. And I'm hearing rumblings that potentially that Spire Motorsports might become Andretti Autosport, possibly.
In NASCAR?
In NASCAR, because Michael Andretti wants to be in NASCAR, and who's he really good buddies with is with Gamebridge.
Wow.
And you know what's even funnier is, what's the guy's name? If you look him up, his name is Zach. He actually brought Gamebridge into IndyCar, and Andretti kicked him out and put Colton Herta into his seat for the last year of his contract. They actually got rid of him. And the IndyCar driver, brought the Gamebridge sponsor in and got like a 3 or 4 year deal to drive with Andretti Autosport, and then they actually kicked him out in his last or 2 years left in his contract. The driver brought it into IndyCar. Now that sponsor is sponsoring Sanchez, Corey LaJoie, who also caused the big wreck at the end of the NASCAR Cup race. So how about that? Gamebridge on both 2 cars causing major wrecks. Okay?
So this Gamebridge is the main sponsor on the Sanchez truck?
Yes, sir.
Or the supporter. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
he was on. So Sanchez is probably a Spire buddy driver, right? So
right, it's all a big club, and you're not in it type deal.
Exactly. But guess what? With GMS going away. But with GMS going away, and
Andretti says Gamebridge sponsorship could lay groundwork for NASCAR move. This was wrote at the end of July, so and it's talking about
it's old news.
Okay,
old news. Like I can tell you that this has been going on for. Formula One is priority. Getting a seat at the table in Formula One is priority number 1. The next priority after that is NASCAR for Andretti. But it almost looks like Gamebridge is kind of doing it on their own to a certain extent.
Okay.
So it's a whole thing.
Wow.
I'm still trying to find out all of the legit info on the deal. So.
Wow.
Andretti will be in NASCAR soon.
And so this Nick
and it's
Sanchez
probably going to be
is protected by people in the background because he's already halfway signed up to rent a ride.
Yeah, he's got to be a rent a ride kid. Who knows? And that's also, you got to remember, he's racing with GMS right now, right? And that's another reason why Spire bought Kyle Busch's deal was that GMS is going away with the whole truck deal. And if they buy KBM, they can go back which is with their Chevrolet already. So they just pick up, 4 trucks.
Well, and the Xfinity deal is dead. It's over. I mean, the truck drivers are going to start going to Cup. Xfinity is done. They're talking about making that an electric series.
Yeah,
that's the truth. Electric or SUVs is apparently the rumor.
It is. It is. A 2030 ambition of whoever's going to lead that whole thing, Ben Kennedy or whomever. So
getting.
But yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they fined only Sanchez $5,000 for uttering a death threat. That to me is worse or as bad as, some of the people saying some pretty nasty words and getting canceled out of their rides, right?
Yeah, I mean, he literally did threaten. One of the commenters just said that apparently, who is it, Crafton, also, or I don't know, did I read it in the comments or not? Said that he, threatened an official as well. So that's what they're saying.
Matt Crafton or Sanchez?
I don't know if it's Sanchez or Crafton, but if you threaten an official regardless, you think that would be more than $5,000 of a fine, and told your daddy can't come with you to the pits anymore, Is Hailie Deegan done? Good question.
Is Hailie Deegan done? Is that a question?
What is Hailie Deegan anymore? What is Hailie Deegan?
So think of it just from a marketing standpoint, okay? Not performance standpoint. It's all marketing, guys. That's all it is.
So because it's Bubba Wallace 2.0.
It's worse than Bubba Wallace.
He can drive.
Bubba Wallace is actually having some success. She's absolutely dreadful. And if I could have told you back in the K&N days, she was absolutely dreadful. She was basically a bulldog. So here's the funny thing. When she raced K&N, everyone's like, oh, she's absolutely amazing, this and that. Guys, she was there the weekend before testing in a late model, renting out the track for 2 days, testing in a late model.
Yeah, I went to Bill McAnally's shop there in Roseville in 2019 when she was running. I actually got to do a ride-along in one of the cars at that Roseville asphalt track. I think it's USA or something like that. And when I walked into the shop, I was kind of hot in 2019. I had a couple million views in a few months. And I walked in there and somebody said, "Is that the Chaz?" I couldn't believe somebody recognized me. I was in the shop with the cars, and it was one of the guys working on the car, and I thought they'd be pissed because I was kind of critical of Deegan at the time anyway. Once again, nepotism monarchy. 100% the situation with her. And the guy was like, and I don't know his name or anything, don't even know if he still works there, but he was like, we can't stand this car right here. Because it was 2 drivers. It was the Daniel or Derek Klaus or what
Derek
was
Kraus.
Derek Kraus was the 19 car, or I think it was 19 or something, Napa car. And then she was the monster car. And he goes, but that car, he points at Deegan's. He goes, that car we got to work on every single damn night of the week because she is just destroying the race cars, destroying them. And in that series at the time, K&N West, if you had one of the 4 cars, whether that was the 2 McAnallys or 3 McAnallys or one of the Ford-supported cars, if you were in one of those 4 or 5 cars, you were top 5 every week no matter what. I could have went out there and ran top 5 in those cars. So to win was like the only goal. Second was a big loser in K&N West because you're only really racing against 3 or 4 of the guys.
Exactly.
So, do you think we need to recruit Hailie Deegan to dirt track racing?
She already did dirt track racing, didn't she?
I've been saying it for years. We need dirt organizations need to get more aggressive at signing marquee names. Why not take a Hailie Deegan? We took Brad Sweet, a failed NASCAR driver. Technically is what he was, right? Brad Sweet was a failed NASCAR driver, correct? That's the truth, right?
That's not fair. That's not fair.
It's not fair, but it's true.
I wouldn't call it a failure. It wasn't his fault.
What do you mean?
Brad Sweet a failed NASCAR driver?
He didn't win no championships. He didn't win no races. I would call that a failure. That's called succeeding is winning, right? So if you do not win, and that means you did not succeed, what does that leave you with? The opposite of succeeding is failure.
He was in a shitty car, Chaz.
I know. I agree. I agree. But he drove for Junior Motorsports. They made it sound like that was a legitimate shot. It wasn't. I didn't say he got a legitimate shot.
Their cars were terrible.
I didn't say he got a legitimate shot. Hey, listen here. Dave Blaney beat Matt Kenseth at Charlotte in the Busch Series. Anything is possible. But I do not believe that any of these dirt guys got a fair shot in NASCAR. But if we're going to draw the line as to who we're trying to recruit, we've already recruited a technically a failed NASCAR driver in Brad Sweet to dominate the sport. Why would we not be open to recruiting Haley Deegan to dirt late models or something? It can't be no worse than some of these guys out there running mid. If Boom Briggs, and no disrespect to Boom, if Boom Briggs can be a full-time World Outlaw or Lucas Oil late model driver, Haley Deegan sure as hell can be too. If Bill Rose can be a full-time World Outlaw sprint car driver, then Haley Deegan has the damn same right to be as well, right? I mean, come on, guys. Who's a better race? I'm not going to compare Bill Rose to Haley Deegan. That's a whole nother world. But I'm just saying. The publicity aspect's out the roof.
Okay. What about Jade? How old's Jade? Why isn't she in a 360? What's going on with her program?
I think she don't want to be in a 360 because she don't want to be Kaylee Bryson. These midget girls and guys, they get out of that midget and they get into a full-size sprint car, get some real competition. Real competition. I still say it. Real competition is outside of those damn midgets. Y'all are just over there racing each other. Y'all ain't really racing. Y'all are having recess in USAC midgets. But when you get outside of your little school, known as USAC midgets, and you get out here in the full-size 360 and 410 sprint cars, you're going to get your ass whooped. And I think Jade Avedisian's possibly the best female racer out there right now. She just is, results-wise. I still don't think that she can go into sprint cars and be competitive. The USAC crowd is just that far behind to me.
But if you don't challenge yourself, Chaz, you're not going to get any better.
But to these adolescent females of the world, it's about what they look like and how they are projected and their image and their reputation. Your reputation ain't going to do too damn well if you look all hot in a USAC midget and then you jump your ass in a full-size sprint car and get lapped. They're putting the B main like Kaylee Bryson was. Everybody was high on Bryson, too. She got in full-size sprint cars and got her ass handed to her by locals in USCS. USCS.
Back to my point.
I didn't say ASCS. I said USCS.
Back to my point. The only way that it's going to happen is they got to make that step. If they don't make that step, they're not going to get any better.
Well, and they're probably still hoping or praying or talking to some old 60-year-old billionaire to get her into a truck or something. That's probably what's happening. You know, I mean, all these kids are still holding out hope that they're not going to have a failed racing career and have to settle to be a full-time dirt racer. It seems like that's a failed career in itself. Nobody wants to do that.
That's the perceived. That's right. The perceived.
I just got through saying,
right?
We took in a failed NASCAR racer, a Brad Sweet. It's the projected reality. Success is Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. Failure is Brad Sweet and David Gravel. That's how these kids are raised.
Fair enough.
It's sad. I've been arguing against it.
Well, so why don't we put it out there? You know, why doesn't TRD put Jade in a 360?
I don't know.
Needs that. Why don't they?
I don't know. They probably
is she not old enough? Is she not? Is she not 16? Why can't she run?
How old is Jade Avedisian?
Because if they don't keep elevating her game, she's gonna be no good in 2 years. You know,
Age is 16.
She could be a Buddy Kofoid.
16 years old.
She should be running. Why can't she run a World of Outlaws car? Why is she not running a 410? Why is she not testing a 360?
I think she's scared of it. I think she saw what happened to Kaylee Bryson.
I don't think so. I think
she's saw what happened to Kaylee Bryson.
She's way better.
Okay.
Kaylee Bryson can't hold a candle to Jade.
2 years ago, you could have had that argument. Now you can't. But why can't you do that? Because Kaylee Bryson went to sprint cars and got exposed. That's jumping off the mountain. You know, you don't want to go full-time dirt racing. You got to go up into the NASCAR stuff because that's where you could stay away from the competition. You can outprice the talent. You know, that's why I call them all paper champions. It's so much money to be even over there playing. You know, you get out in the 360s and 410s, you're racing against the sharks. You're not in your little farm-raised fish area of the elites of the world and USAC midgets and NASCAR trucks and Cup. You have to race everybody if you come out onto the dirt. You know, and I would argue that 360s are potentially harder than 410s in certain areas because of the amount of players on the field, you know, and 410 can be a little easier because it costs more to compete up front. You can buy some more speed. You know, you saw that on display greatly at Chico where Kyle Larson finished 7th, I think, in the 360s and then won in the 410.
How many midgets show up to a race? Because I can't tell you because I don't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. No one watches it. Who wants to watch it? It's not exciting. It's not fun. I mean, yeah, maybe T-Mez gets in there and beats the kids, him and Justin Grant, but outside of those two, there's no respectable. Well, I mean, there's some respectable drivers in there, but I mean, it's just it's recess. You're out there on the playground with the kids when I see it. You know, it's like T-Mez and Justin Grant might as well be, you know, the PE teachers at this point. That's how I see it personally.
That's a great way to put it.
That's exactly all they're the PE teachers. That's how I see midgets, man. It's just it's just sad. It's just sad. Trying to get some results out. Let's see. Go ahead. All
that TRD money, they could easily fund 5 World of Outlaw cars at a minimum.
Yeah.
You could have with all of that midget money, you know, you could have Keith Coons doing a 410, you know, program, and, you know, can Keith Coons even do a full-fledged 410 sprint car, or is he only a midget guy?
Well, they rolled out a midget at one point or a sprint car at one point for Christopher Bell. Their one and only World Outlaw win was Christopher Bell on a flatbed with one of their Wing 410 cars they just had sitting in the side of the shop. He just threw it on there and took it to Jacksonville and won against the Outlaws. Flatbed trailer, Christopher Bell. Keith Coons Wing 410.
My biggest thing, did he back it up?
Chris Bell's a bad motherfucker. Kyle Larson's lucky that Joe
Gibbs
has a leash on him. 23 cars officially were at hold on. Yeah, 23 cars took time at Gas City. I'm trying to use like normal results to see who's all here. But it's around the mid-20s is what you get at your midget races. And once again, this situation is very similar to the K&N West series because if you're not in one of these KKM or a Rheinbold or a Dahl, if you're not in a certain car, you know, half this field is already taken out from contention to win because they ain't in a midget that is capable of winning. Same thing with the trucks and the Cup. There's only half the field that could technically win the race based on the equipment, more so than the driver.
Here's my question. Why is Brent Cruz not running a midget right now?
I'm assuming he didn't want to pay the bill.
No, the bill's paid.
Okay, well,
but
then
why would you race if Buddy Kofoid? Why would you race if Buddy Kofoid's not going to show up? Kyle Larson's not going to show up. Why would you just spank the field and make it look even worse than what it is?
Maybe he can't.
Maybe they pull a Kyle Larson and they fix the race with KKM.
No, I'm saying maybe he can't win. There's still some fast kids out there in recess. I mean, there's some fast ones at recess.
Really? You don't think Brent Cruz is the real deal, eh?
You ain't. Well, first of all, if you go and win a midget championship, you're still not the real deal to me. But yeah, I don't. Any one of these guys, if you're not in super late model 360 410 sprint car, you're really just out there learning. Maybe if they jumped in an IMCA modified, I'd respect them a little bit. Something out there that's got some real competition. But as far as I'm concerned, midgets, micros are slowly getting there. You could just buy results or buy top fives and top tens because of how much money it takes to be out there. So that's how I see it.
But how do we fix it, Chaz?
There is no fixing it. This is what Joe's been trying to tell everybody. There's no fixing it. You could talk about it, but there's no fixing it.
Is it because they don't want to work hard enough to go hustle?
I mean, I think the hustle ambition is definitely lacking in today's society, but...
So then you just answered your own question.
Once again,
you agreed.
It's just all these rich... It's like we were talking about the other day, Danica Patrick. These rich people are the majority of the rosters of dirt track and racing in general. Just rich people, privileged, legitimate. The greatest example, I ain't going to say of white privilege, but pretty much of privilege in life. These are the privileged, these are from the elite classes of society. There ain't nobody out here having a kid renting Keith Kuhn midget rides for $300K a year that are coming from a sub six-figure income, These are all millionaire kids racing. Now, we all heard the horror stories on how people get rich and then they have kids that never had to work for the damn money and they don't have, and just given everything and have no work ethic, no drive, no desire, no sense of how hard things can actually be. And they're pacified in life. They don't have to go have friends like the guy was saying the other day about Danica. They don't have to go out there and worry about a real job. They just work for the family, like they were saying, like Joe was saying. These people are from the privileged class, the elites of the world. They're the kids of the elites. So why would they have any drive? They don't have to. They don't have to go to sprint cars. They could just run midgets with their buddies and their friends that they've only made at the racetrack. So I mean, why would they? Why don't they? They don't have to. We lose you? I think we lost you. Probably the perfect time, I guess. I guess we could be getting off here. We're going on tangents. I didn't plan on going after kids today about their racing careers, but I do have an opinion on this, and I do think that USAC is the best of the rest. Yeah, we did just lose the call officially. I do think that until you get into super late models, 360, 410 sprint cars, you're racing against maybe IMCA modifieds. I still think there's some great drivers in 305, even 305 sprint cars, in my opinion, is tougher to dominate than USAC midgets. Dominating 604 late models is harder. IMCA modified stock cars, harder. Big block modifieds, harder. And when I say harder, there's more competition. The playing field is more even. And if you can win in those, you got something. But when you dominate USAC midgets, just don't mean nothing to me. You ain't playing against no real players. You're playing against your buddies and your friends and the rich elites of the world. That's how I see it. That's just how I see it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, before I throw something, I guess that's going to do it for the show today. Want to thank the guests that have come on, Joe earlier, and then Clark Kent there who tuned in. Want to thank everyone for tuning in. No super chats once again today. That's just great. But hopefully everybody did enjoy tuning in and maybe go to longlivethechaz.com, get yourself a hat. Oh, not a hat today. We'll go to tannerholmes.com or whatever, get a Tanner Holmes hat. Shirts on the website. Hats are on the website. Of course, the hoodies rolling out as we get into the fall season here in the world that we live within. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if I offended anyone today, sorry, but not so sorry. Chaz, should the World Championship be a traveling track? And I think he's referring to the Lucas Oil situation. It's at the 3-day championship race off is at Eldora. Should that track be changed every year? So next year it's not at Eldora, it's at Port Royal, or it's at Knoxville, or the championship finale. I think that's a good idea. I would sign up for that option of changing it to a new track every day. Once again, like the video, comment below, share it around. As always, be sure to subscribe, and also the membership button. Click it. If you're not gonna freaking click the super chat, we're trying to do a live every day here, and we need it to make sense, and the way it makes sense is literally making some sense. So click the membership button. Next time, if you're tuning in live, click the super chat to get it onto the screen. And as always, have a nice day and drink a coffee cup. Or drink out of the coffee cup. This is coffee cups too. I like them. Although it got scratchy. So, I mean, if it gets scratchy like this, I don't know. I'm trying to get off of here. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Kevin, Joseph, all these people, all the commenters are very appreciated. And until next time,